Hello, this is Blake with Mercury Mastering Studios here in Southern California. I just wanted to show you all a quick tutorial on how to prepare your tracks properly before you send it off to us or any other mastering studio. So we're going to walk through 7 steps on what to do before you send your tracks over to get mastered. And so right here we have an unreleased song that was sent to us to get mastered, and I'm privileged to have the Pro Tools session so I could mix it a bit before. I'll play you some. So it's already sounding pretty good. We have really great programmers and producers working on this track, but there are a few things we need to do before we bounce it down to a stereo file to master. The first step is to eliminate any unwanted noise. This includes pops, clicks, or fades. So you want to go in and take out anything that you know you don't want in the final copy. This track was already pretty clean, so we didn't need to do too much, so it's good to go. The second step is to leave some silence at the beginning and at the end of the song. The reason why this is important is because it allows the mastering engineer to do their own fades. It also assures us that we don't have any excess bleeding from our plugins. So for example, if we have a delay with a high amount of feedback on a track, it might bleed into the beginning of our bounce when we start it. So a bit of silence before will make sure that we're clean from front to back. The third step is probably most important. I'll show you. We want to take off all limiters or EQs or effects or anything on the stereo bus before you bounce or export. So this track has 3 plugins. I had it bypassed before. It has an EQ. It looks like it's just boosting a little low end and also on the top as well. A compressor to sort of glue everything together, looks like, and then an L2 limiter to make it nice and loud. So as you can see, it's sounding pretty good with all of this on here, but it limits how much the mastering engineer can manipulate. It's better to send a track with no EQ or compression because it allows the mastering engineer to do the best work they can without having to worry about dealing with a processed track already. I mean, the whole reason you're sending your tracks off to get mastered is because you want your tracks running through expensive gear and also having the expertise of a professional mastering engineer. So trust me, your tracks will sound much better if you leave it up to us and any other good mastering engineer. Now, if there are plugins that you just can't live without on the master bus, just send 2 copies. So you can label one master bus effects or no effects, just have 2 separate copies. Some mastering engineers won't allow you to do this, but if you send it to us, we'll make sure that we live up to what you were already hearing before. It's always good to send more tracks than less anyways, so we have more options to play with. So it brings us to the next step is to check your level. It's really important that you peak at around negative 6 dB. You can maybe go a bit more to negative 3 dB, but it's crucial that you give the mastering engineer as much headroom as possible. So as you can see, if I keep these plugins on, then, we're peaking right at 0. But if I take the plugins off, and we're right under negative 6 dB. It looks like we're in between there. So if you send us a mix that is already slammed, we really can't do much with it. There's no room for us to breathe, or there's no room for it to breathe. And we'll often send an email or call back asking to lower the gain on all tracks so we have enough room to master. A way you can do this is by selecting all in the group menu and bringing down all the faders rather than just bringing down the master fader. So you could do that, but this track's already good, so we don't need to. And then you could bring back the master fader. I know some of you might have a lot of heavy automation, but getting your track to the point where you have a nice bit of headroom is crucial. So if you mix all your faders under this 0 mark right here, and you shouldn't run into this problem. As you can see, all of these tracks aren't going over this 0. It's all set either right at 0 or right below it. And so that makes our mastering output pretty good. It makes it right around here. So that has a lot of headroom for us. The 5th step is to take off any dithering. So if you go up to this L2 plugin right here, you can see that there's dithering options here. And you want to make sure that you select none. It looks like all of these are at none already. But I think default, you'll have it on one of these types with some moderate shaping. So set these to none right there. And you want to make sure that you do that because dithering should happen at the end of the chain after it's mastered. So if you send us your tracks, we'll dither it correctly for you. You should be fine if you're not using any dithering plugins, but it's just something valuable to note. The sixth step is to bounce your track in the format in which you're working. So if I go up here and select bounce to disk, you can see that it's all set to 44.1, 24-bit. I want to keep it there. This also includes keeping your format at WAV, which I'm at right now. So WAV and AIFF are acceptable for us when you send us tracks. Whatever you do, do not bounce it as an MP3. I know you can select it now from Pro Tools as an MP3. MP3s compress the audio quite a bit, and you lose a lot of essential frequencies when you do that. So stay away from MP3s. The last step is to, which I think is pretty important, a lot of people overlook, is to think of some reference tracks that could help the mastering engineer. A lot of times I get tracks sent to me, as well as like a U2 track or a Dead Mouse track as a reference because they like the way those masters sound. This is extremely helpful for the mastering engineer because it helps us get inside your head a bit and really try to aim for the sound you're going for. Now, obviously, if you recorded a garage band in a garage with cheap mics and cheap pre's and you send us Green Day or U2 as your reference, then surely you'll be quite disappointed that your song doesn't sound like those artists. But if you record it well and you're happy with your mix, then reference tracks can easily be replicated sonically. So that should be everything you need to know before you send your tracks to us or any other mastering engineer. If you send it to us, we'll also work with you to get your mix right before you master, just to make sure you're set up for success. If you have any questions or want to get audio mastered, check out our website at www.mercurymastering.com. Thanks.